That's one small step for brands, one giant leap for brandkind.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Food Chain. Today we got a very special guest and friend, Jed Rawson, who's the CEO of Pirawna, Uptickk, and Refund. Jed, welcome to the show.
Vasa, great to be on the show, my friend. It's good to see you again. It's good to catch up.
We haven't done this since I was doing the Exit Intent podcast with Growthbuster. Now it's Food Chain with Perfy.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to be asked back for an encore or a cleanup. I'm not sure which.
I think it's an encore, and there's a lot of things that have changed in your world since we last chatted. First thing on the first order of business is talking about how you've completely changed your health in the past year. It's been amazing to watch, and it's inspired me.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm a fat kid at heart, but in the last year I've cut 53 pounds, kept it off for the first time in a long time, and I've never felt better. So, I was 235-ish. Now I'm in the 180s and a lot more muscular, a lot more lean. And the secret's cold plunging. That's one of the secrets. So obviously GLP-1s is the other secret. A lot of cardio and a lot of nutrition, but cold plunging and GLP-1s are undefeated.
Amazing. I have got an infrared. I haven't invested in a cold plunge yet, but that might be the next thing.
Yeah. A good friend of mine said it kills the inner wuss. He used a different word. He said it kills the inner bitch. So I'm good friends with Greg, the founder at Bloom. And he's like, oh, you got a cold plunge. And I was like, you're crazy, bro. I'm never doing that. And now I'm addicted to it. I cold plunge every day. I cold plunge this morning for 3 minutes, 41 degrees. And once you cold plunge in the morning, it wakes you up without caffeine. And then it makes your skin tingle, which I actually really like that feeling. And then it burns fat. The first 2 weeks that I cold plunged consistently, I burned 7 pounds and the only thing I changed, I kept everything else constant. The only thing I changed was I added cold plunging and I burned 7 pounds the first 2 weeks. So
epic. Like when we worked at Quest together, I used to work out with Bruce every morning. And my version of cold plunging was at the Bay Club in El Segundo. When you put that water on cold, especially in the mornings, it's freaking cold. I don't think it's 41 degrees, but boy, was that cold. And that was the closest I did. And I was very fit back then. So hopefully that was something that worked out.
Yeah. What's funny is I can't take a cold shower. It's got to be cold immersion. So, but if you think of calorie, right, it's a unit of measurement to heat water 1 degree. Well, if you drop your core body temp down and then your body naturally has to fire up the engines to heat it back up, your metabolism goes up, everything else goes up. You just burn fat. So plus it wakes you up. And after that, you can roll into the office and you can fire 5 people if you have to, or go handle those 2 problems you didn't want to deal with.
Yeah. Wim Hof who? Anywho, we have limited time today and there's some things I want to go over. The first thing is you now have Uptickk, which is a TikTok shop agency. Correct me if I'm wrong. You
Correct.
Also have the Amazon agency, which is performance marketing for Amazon. If I remember correctly, we've worked with you a bunch. And you have Refund, which claws back all of the egregious, deductions that Amazon takes from you. Tell me about that world and tell me about how TikTok feeds into Amazon.
Yeah, great question. So I founded Pirawna 9 years ago when my first set of twins were born. So for your viewers, my only claim to fame is I'm probably the only guy you've met dumb enough to have 2 sets of twins, less than 2.5 years apart. So I have 2 7-year-old girls and I have 2 10-year-old girls, Lexi, Kenzie, Lolo, and Stella. And I founded Pirawna when the first set was born because I just truthfully needed to make more money. Pirawna's been around 9 years. We actually just made the Inc. 5000 list for fastest growing companies, which is kind of cool. We made the top half of that list. This last year, we were one of the fastest growing Amazon agencies. And so the team is up to 115 people total now. And we manage Amazon for 200 plus clients. So one of our clients sold last week a couple weeks ago to L'Oreal. So Color Wow sold for $1 billion, which I'm really happy for my friends over there. They're wonderful people. They deserve it. They earn it. We also manage Amazon for some big brands like Bloom and C4 and some smaller brands, right, that are startup challenger brands. I was talking today with a new protein powder brand that's, just barely getting started. So that was the genesis. And then TikTok, we saw a lot of the fastest growing brands in CPG were running a TikTok to Amazon playbook, especially Bloom, Mary Ruth Organics, Goli, and a few others. So we work with Nello, which is a top 10 brand on TikTok shop. And so we started building out a TikTok agency. Eventually we spun it out. We call it Uptickk with 2Ks, and it just took off. Like TikTok is, if you don't have a well-developed strategy for TikTok, it's insanely relevant traffic, insanely cheap traffic. And if you drive that traffic to Amazon, it converts. So
how do you do that when TikTok is trying to keep everyone on platform and shop TikTok shop?
They are. And the short answer is like, even if the short answer is consumer behavior is hard to change. Even if you drive the traffic to their own TikTok shop listings, people see it on TikTok, they buy it on Amazon. There's just a comfort blanket of knowing you can return it no matter what, and a familiarity that I bought a few things off of TikTok shop personally, but it's like an anchor charger, right? Or it's kind of like, last minute tchotchke type purchases, right? But, if I'm buying a $2,000 go-kart, I'm still going to Amazon to make that purchase. And so what you see is that the halo effect, we cut spend on a brand 40% on Amazon, and our Amazon sales grew 40% when we redeployed that capital to TikTok. So it's not just TikTok shop. TikTok has an ads engine. It's TikTok affiliates. It's TikTok influencer. And a lot of people are running a bot strategy to automate some of the outbound. If you're not running a bot strategy to automate the outbound, you're not doing it right.
Damn. Okay. I bought a couple things off TikTok shop, and I can see what you're saying because I didn't actually plan to have this next to me, but I don't know how to close this thing here. It's some kind of like gimbal. And the person that did the ad was so good at it. I was like, I'm going to buy this. It's like $14, but I don't know how to close it and I don't know how to work it. And it's with me forever now. There's no sending it back.
And it probably cost you $20, like the TikTok skews a little bit cheaper on price points. I also bought a tripod and it looks kind of similar, and same thing. It's like, I didn't go to TikTok thinking I'm going to buy a tripod today, but I got served some affiliate content. It was like this foldable tripod. I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's actually a great tripod. I use it for my home gym when I do pull-ups now. So it definitely works. But yeah, TikTok skews a lot more to that. So we've seen higher price items not do as well. Like I know I'm good friends with some friends that sell $200 shavers for men. If I say any more, you'll know the brand. And TikTok was not a good fit. If you're manscaping, not a good fit for a very premium price point manscaper. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, for sure.
Allegedly,
go there with the joke
allegedly, or so I hear.
Yeah. Let's transition from the ball talk here. Prime Day is coming up. What are 3 things that brands need to look at? Like, as tactical as you can be, 3 things brands need to check off on.
I think the first thing is pricing. So like, because you have to be really careful with your pricing this time of year, the first thing to check the box on is like, if you screw with your pricing, then you can automatically disqualify yourself from lightning deals, best deals, deals of the day. There's a lot of more rules than there used to be around running a deal. Amazon wants to see a lot of those deals be the lowest price in the last 30 days. So my tip number 1 is be very careful changing your price. And if you do change price, make sure you double check that it won't impact your promos. Number 2, road test your promotions for Q4 or for January fall Prime Day. So if you think that you're going to run 25% off for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or if you're a sports nutrition brand and you're going to run 30% off in January, run that test now in the second week of October. It's one of your last best timeframes to test a promo and be able to gather and analyze some data on it. My third suggestion is leverage DSP. So we have our own DSP seat. We can pass those savings through to like the brands that work with us. If you're not leveraging DSP and running some DSP targeting ads, there's a lot more capability now than Amazon's ever had for targeting. My favorite is to run some retargeting ads. There's some great retargeting capabilities in DSP. And if you don't have a DSP strategy, now's a good time to look at one.
And to the new person, what's DSP?
Demand side platform. So it's additional targeting capabilities. So if you want to run ads, let's say you want to run ads next to, on Fire tablets, or if you want to run an ad next to Reacher, right? Or the best Amazon Prime Video, Jack Ryan. You can actually do some of those ads and run some of that targeting through Amazon. And then this used to be reserved for only big brands. Amazon's consistently opened it up. And something that's actually like groundbreaking for your viewers, I don't think most people know this. They're going to roll out a beta in January, February, opening up DSP to everybody, and it'll hit in March. So you want some top secret Amazon confidential information? DSP is going to be opening up in Q1 of next year. And by March of next year, anyone that wants to run DSP ads can do it without a third party. Now, it still makes sense to have some skilled help, run the campaigns for you. But that's a big change where it's always been behind this paywall, this guard wall, and they opened it up a little bit for a few big agencies like us. Now they're opening it up to everybody, which I think is a great move.
Excited to learn more about that. Excited to share that. Was it a watch bomb from Jed Rawson?
No, nobody knows that yet. In fact, I would be shocked if any of your viewers know that's coming, but it is coming.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about reviews. I saw on LinkedIn the other day you talked about Amazon reviews and how they're taking an aggressive approach. Don't even mess with them. Don't do anything. Gray hat, white hat, black hat. Don't mess with them. Let's talk more about that.
I gotta, we see a lot of brands. We see a lot of good strategies, bad strategies. We see brands that are really aggressive on compliance. We see brands that are really conservative on compliance, right? We've got unparalleled visibility. And 2 weeks ago, I got a call Friday night, 10 p.m., text intro from one of our current clients, great guy. He's like, hey, my buddy's Seller Central account, can you get shut down? Can you hop on a call with him? Sure, no problem. Hop on a call with him at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. And he's like, hey, we're in the middle of our Series A. We're raising $5 million. Like, we're in due diligence. We're under LOI. We're probably like weeks away from wires. And my Amazon account just got shut down. We're like, why did it get shut down? Well, we were putting some inserts in and there was some stuff on the packaging. And we were asking people to leave a review. And it's like, if you look at the way it used to be, you used to be able to kind of get away with some of that. Amazon didn't watch it as close, didn't care as close. Something has happened in the last 6 months where like they are taking like a one strike and you're out kind of approach. And so, my advice with reviews is to do absolutely nothing. Make a great product, sell a bunch of units. The good reviews will come. What it's also happened though is with Amazon's crackdown, it's empowered the bad actors who pile on negative reviews. So we've seen negative review attacks become more common. And there's not really a lot you can do to get around it other than, sell your way out of it. We have seen the Vine program be a great thing to use. So early brands, new ASINs, you can take advantage of the Vine program. For people that don't know what that is, you can get 30 reviews out of the gate to kind of help get things started. But to me, it's as simple as the Costco principle. What Costco does with giving you a sample and asking you if you liked it, Amazon is, for some reason, the FTC has cracked down on them. What's really going on is behind the scenes, the FTC is probably going to fine Amazon and they are going to probably pay a big fine. Well, they're probably pushing that fine down by cracking down on reviews. And so in the Amazon world, like, this is a bad analogy, but like stealing lollipops from little kids, committing homicide, leaving negative reviews. Negative reviews gets your account shut down faster than being a horrible person. So not to say that you can't get shut down for both. I'm saying on the list of Amazon sins, manipulating reviews is probably at the top of the list of things of people that are hitting a firing squad with very little mercy. They're not really forgiving. There's very little mercy. And to a common person, you're like, what's the big deal? It's just some reviews. Amazon takes review integrity more seriously than they ever have. So my advice is don't do it.
Why is it that they have a firmer approach on stacking the cards with positive reviews and don't take much of an approach, it sounds like, with people who are weaponizing reviews to leave negative reviews on competitors?
I think because it's difficult to enforce and it's difficult to track. And so they actually do a great job. I think Amazon and Dharmesh Mehta, who runs that rolls up underneath him. I think they do as good of a job as you can. I think I saw a stat one time that they remove 22 million pieces of content a week, review related. And so I think the bad guys are getting smarter, but what's happened is by cutting down on the fake 5-star reviews, right? It now increases the weighting or potential impact of negative 1-star reviews because it's harder to fluff. And so my advice to brands is like, just don't touch your reviews. Sell a great product at a great price. And then, sell enough units that you can absorb like some negative reviews from a competitor. But we've definitely seen negative review attacks happen. There is a mechanism to report it. You can report abuse, review abuse. Sometimes they take it seriously, sometimes they don't. But at the end of the day, for sure, do not put inserts in. Be careful what you put on your packaging. And the worst thing, if you're running any sort of mini chat funnel, or if you're asking people on Instagram to leave a review on Amazon, they're going to see a screenshot of that at some point and they're going to catch you. And then when they catch you, it's kind of a one strike you're out. I've seen first time offenders doing 40 billion a year taken completely offline with no chance of recourse. So I spent a month trying to get that account reactivated because I thought, hey, like, we'll make sure they don't have a problem going forward, right? We'll be the good guys. We'll be compliant. Amazon was like, nah, 40 million a year. We don't care. That's how seriously we're taking reviews.
Wow.
Pretty wild.
My heart rate is running just talking about how serious they are about this.
You're going to need to get a new Apple Watch, maybe the new AirPod Pro 3s if you're going to keep that heart rate up.
I'm surprised that the earpods or the AirPods monitor heart rate. That's crazy. You broke that news to me today.
Yeah, I didn't even know that it was possible to tell your heart rate from your ear, right? I know temperature. You can tell temperature. But like, when was the last time they're like, oh, I need to check your heart rate? Yeah.
Sometimes when I lay on my side, I can hear my heartbeat when I like close my ears too much or something like that. So I'm not shocked. Anyway,
probably depends on which side, Bossa. You look great, by the way. It looks like you've lost some weight.
Hey, you look better.
Thanks, man. Man. Likewise.
So let's jump to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We talked about Prime Day. Is your advice the same thing on testing Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Is it a totally different playbook? What are 3 things that new brands can do today or to prepare?
I think the first is inventory. Understand the logistics are going to slow down. So you want to anticipate, be ahead of that curve. Number 2 is the spend. Everyone's going to spend on a traditional time frame. So a lot of the spend gets deployed during Black Friday, during Cyber Monday. And what I've learned is if you can anticipate that spike and pull a lot of your spend forward, Amazon's a momentum game. And if you understand that principle, if you can get to the top of the organic rankings when those key holidays hit, Amazon will just naturally push you. And so make sure your inventory is there early because you can't rely on Amazon to be reliable around those peak holiday seasonality timeframes for shipments. Number 2 is make sure you're pulling that spend forward, right, strategically to build as much momentum. And the third, plug in a tool like Refund Hawk. And the reason why is because it'll help automate the reimbursement, the reconciliation. If you do have a problem, Amazon has changed the timeframes for when you can dispute, get money back. They've also cut how much money you can get back. And so you want to have a tool like Refund Hawk in the background listening for when you make mistakes so that you can get that money back. We just audited for a brand. They were like, there is nothing. Our team is the best. We use this other tool. We audited. We found $1 million. We're like, we'll get you another $1 million. And that's a real million. That is a real $1 million. We have $1 million that Amazon's overcharged you that if you dispute, they'll give it to you back. And like, all right, we stand corrected.
Wow. That's epic, dude.
And it's a win-win. And it's like, it's free to use. You take a small % of whatever you recover. But, the key is to go get the recovery. I mean, it's still a very lucrative. It could be 10% or 20% of your net profit for some brands.
Yeah. Incredible. I'm going to make sure that I link Refund Hawk, Uptickk, and Pirawna in the show notes. So no worries about that. People will be
Make
able to
sure you
find
link Dr. Perfy too. I've really been enjoying the cherry cola SKU.
Thank you. Those are I think the 2 best sellers, but my favorite's still blood orange yuzu.
I love the blood orange, but like my kids blow through, we call them by their colors, the blue can and the white can at my house turn.
That's awesome. I always hoped for something like that. And sometimes I do too, because nobody calls Gatorade by their flavors. It's the yellow one or the blue one. So that's an important distinction for me, is not calling it by the flavor.
Yeah. Like I said, I know the white can because it's cherry cola, because that's my favorite, but my kids love the blue can. So my motto is real friends pay full price. So
I didn't even know you were ordering still. You ordering on Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate that. That's
That's
awesome.
what real friends are for, bro.
That's cool. Let's close out with one thing. And one more time, I'm just grateful that you ordered. Thank you. Third-party sellers. I'm going to tell you a quick story about, I'm not going to say who, but there's a retailer with a competing marketplace to Amazon. And I met with that retailer for placement early next year. And that retailer said, hey, we really like you to be on the marketplace. It really help out your chances. And I said, why would I join the marketplace when there's people on that marketplace undercutting my price aggressively and using the wrong imagery aggressively and all of these different things? I was like, I don't really want to compete with people using my product against me. So I have no real incentive to do so. Amazon isn't as bad in my opinion, but there's still people that are thorns in my side. And there were thorns in our side when we had this at Quest too. What are things people can do to combat the third-party sellers?
I think a lot of people view it as an adversarial relationship, and sometimes it is and sometimes it can be. My first inclination and reflex is always to look at what are they doing and why, right? Because sometimes they're creating custom bundles and you're like, that's a good idea. Hey, we should do that, right? And so the first is look at it for a kernel of truth or like a seed of innovation, because sometimes they've hit on something, like, for example, a new variety pack, or taking the few units from the number 1 SKU and the number 2 SKU, putting them together, right? Creating a unique bundle. If they're just pure price play guys and they're that third party reseller arbitrage guys that sit on top of a distributor, the principle is avoid self-inflicted wounds, and then channel control leads to price control. And so know who you're selling to. One of the early mistakes the new brands will make, they'll ship a bunch of product to a guy who's willing to place a PO, but they have no clue where he really is or what he really is doing. And the chance that some new guy is willing to take a bunch of inventory risk, it's not a small gym in New Jersey, I promise you. Mm. That small gym in New Jersey is doing $1 million a year with one door. No, they're flipping it back up on Amazon. And so having some common sense limits around how much you ship to, who you ship to, lot code traceability. There's Amazon Transparency, which is a great program. If you're not in transparency, enroll in it. And the reason why is because it actually enables you to really zero out all your third-party problems. You have to put a unique barcode, and there's a small cost to that, but it's totally worth it. So for us, we enroll the brands in transparency. The other is know who you sell to, right? Amazon now started publishing the business address on the listings a couple years back. There's a really good tool called Smart Scout that will help you identify who those resellers are. And then there's Chrome extension plugins that will tell you how many units they have. So I was dealing with this issue this morning. And the principle is anytime you open up a 10 to 15% arbitrage opportunity, those guys are going to go take advantage. And so we had a brand that was running 40% off on their website. Well, guys were just buying it 40% off on their website and then shipping it into Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very much a no-brainer. And so, we've even encountered guys buying and selling stolen inventory or fraudulent inventory or counterfeit inventory. We have a brand called Nello. They're one of the top 10 brands on TikTok Shop and Amazon. They're a nine-figure brand now, in a year and a half, which I just couldn't be happier for them.
That's the milkshake, yeah.
They've got that. They've got this. They're the sleep magnesium powder. So if you look on Nello, they're crushing it. They do a great job. They have they've written the playbook for TikTok affiliates and influencers to Amazon. Great guys. They never run out of stock. They make great products at a great price point. Guess what? They don't have to touch reviews. They don't have to do a lot of stuff because they built that engine. But, I would say those are my thoughts, like in terms of how you can prepare. And, at the core of it, last thing, just have fun. If you're not having fun, you're going to hate it. And it's going to take a lot of time anyways. You might as well enjoy it and have a good attitude.
Yeah, I tried zapping a dude in Jersey that was undercutting me. Now they're selling at $45 a case, which is like, are they even getting any sales? But they're using really terrible photography with the brand. And so that's the biggest gripe. If I can add my 2 cents into this, I think that most of the people are buying from distributors. The two of the biggest distributors in America, I'm not going to say who, because I'm not trying to get in their doghouse, but that's usually where we track it back to, is 2 of the bigger distributors that ship natural and grocery foods.
Yeah, and
they're often selling.
And they're paid to distribute, right? So like they do a great job at their job. Their job is to distribute, and they don't really want to tell you everyone they ship to. That's why they charge you more for the ship to list.
Yeah. And they aren't going to allow you to carve that out of a contract, like no Amazon sellers. But for any brands out there listening, if you have DSD contracts, what I've done is carve out selling anything to Amazon. People will often hit me up for like a right of refusal. And I always say, no, we're not going to do that. And then internationally, I also have that in the contracts. No Amazon sales, unless like approved by me.
Yeah, which is the right way to do it. I mean, brand building is tough. I've been so impressed with what you built with Dr. Perfy, and with Perfy in general, that like just going back to like the origin story, you've got one of the best origin stories of a brand that I know of.
Thank you.
And your mom would be proud of you. So I know that this is not a sentimental podcast, but she'd be proud of you, and she'd say happy. I know that she'll be at your wedding in 33 days. And I just want to wish you congrats, Vasa.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Whew. What a way to end it. But thank you for joining. We'll wrap here. I'll link everything below. Always a pleasure hearing your sage wisdom. And thanks again, man.
You're a good man, Charlie Brown. Good luck. See you, friends.
Thanks.